guys, Chad here from CNR Reviews. We have the Kahr CW9 and we have the Glock 26. These are both carry guns that I think are in the larger side of the subcompact category. The subcompact 9mm category has got a ton of guns in it. You can go from something as small as the new SIG that's coming out, the 928 or the 939 or whatever the hell it's called, little mini 1911 type, to the Kel-Tec PF9, to the Ruger LC9, which are considerably smaller than the Glock 26. You start to get into these bigger handguns. They have the M&P 9 Compact, the XD 3-inch, and the Glock 26 is going to fall into that category. It is a double stack magazine, so you're going to have a higher capacity than the normal subcompacts. It's a 10+1. And then you get into a gun that has got the same size, but it's a single stack capacity in the Kahr CW9. It's a 7+1. But we're going to hit on some features between these two, and I think they're both really important guns. A lot of people have the Glock 26. A lot of people carry it every day or use it as a backup. I carry this gun throughout the winter, fall and winter, and absolutely love it. I can conceal it in my jacket. A lot of times you can't tell I'm carrying at all. I feel safe with this gun because I know it's going to go bang every time I pull that trigger. The Kahr CW9 is new to us. It only has about 50 rounds through it as of right now. We are going to be putting another 3, maybe more, 100 rounds through this before we give you a full review on it. But what we want to do today is talk about some features that these have, how they're similar, and how they're, and then how they compare in size. I think you're actually going to be surprised with the size because this gun loaded is going to be in the 26-ounce range as far as weight goes, fully loaded. This guy fully loaded is going to be in the 20 to 21-ounce range. So this gun is significantly lighter. Part of that's because of the single stack mag, but also it's because it's a thinner gun. So which one is going to be a more viable carry option? It's your decision. Like I said, I carry the Glock 26, but after the break-in period, I may start carrying this guy just because it is so thin, it may not print as much. Let's just quickly go over features because the features are very similar between these two. These both don't have a safety. I don't care what people say about this little trigger safety on the Glock. That is not a safety. I can easily depress that. It doesn't take anything, and I wouldn't consider that a safety. That is more of something if something bumps into your pocket and happens to hit the side of the trigger, okay. But more or less if something's going to dig into your pocket, it's going to hit that too, and it's going to depress. So these both rely on a really long trigger pull. Now I got my concealed rounds in my Glock right now. Do a safety check. I charge the trigger on the Glock, and we'll do so also on the Kahr. Now trigger pull is going to be very similar, as in it has a heavy trigger and then a nice clean break. Now with the Glock, a lot of people compare that trigger to a staple gun. And I'll admit, it kind of does feel a little bit like a staple gun. But you have this long trigger. And actually, there's not much take-up on this. I actually changed out to the 4.5-pound Glock factory connector. It has a really nice break now. Even with the 5.5-pound connector, it was still good. The Kahr, though, I would have to say I like the trigger better. It does have a little bit more of a take-up, but it has a lot cleaner break. And when I'm shooting, I can almost control this trigger. I really noticed we were shooting at 25 yards with this subcompact, tagging the living crap at an 8-inch target, and I was attributing that to the good trigger. Other than that, as far as features go, the Glock comes with a plastic guide rod, which I do not like. A lot of people will have zero issues with theirs. I haven't had any issues with mine, but I opted to switch out to a stainless steel guide rod, so my Glock is wearing a stainless steel guide rod on there. The Kahr comes with a nice metal guide rod. And that is significant, especially when we start talking about prices. A lot of times these companies are trying to cut down on weight, and like I said, even though this has a plastic guide rod, it's still considerably heavier than what the Kahr is. And also a lot of them are trying to cut down on price. You got that bigger, better, faster, cheaper. And you know what, sometimes I think that they're almost cutting too many corners. To me, the stainless steel guide rod is a very important part of a weapon. I don't want to rely on plastic. I've had them break on my LC9, and we've had other issues with a Beretta. and we've had to replace both the guide rods. And so we want to really make sure that these companies understand, if you're going to get these, you want to make sure that they do have high quality materials, not just plastic. Some of you may never have an issue with your plastic guide rod, and that's great. But I'm going to go the extra step and buy the stainless steel and never have a problem with it ever. So other than that, guys, this is more on the Glock. This is a slide stop. This is not a slide release. A lot of people want to use this as a slide release and slam their slide back down, so they'll put extended ones. But the one that comes on the Glock is a slide lock. It is intended to be pulled from the rear and charged that way. Now the Kahr, on the other hand, has a real slide release. You can see it's very large. It's designed to be pushed down, and the gun is supposed to be charged that way. Other than that, as far as features go, they are super similar. Even the sights. You do have combat sights on the Glock, and you have combat sights on the Kahr. They're just a tad bit different. Let's go ahead and do the size comparison and show you guys what I'm talking about. Let's do width first. That way you can actually see. As you guys can see, the Kahr slide is significantly thinner. But if you add that slide catch, you're actually gaining a little bit of size. So you want to take that in consideration. So there's the slide comparison. The Kahr is thinner than the Glock. Let's do a height comparison. Now you have to remember that the Glock comes with flat-based mags. I put this on there. That's from Pierce Grips, this extender. I like to have a pinky extender on my guns. It just gives me just a little bit more control. What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw both mags into the Kahr and the Glock, and we're going to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. We're going to compare the height. So the height on these guys, with the extender, you can see the Glock is almost the same as the Kahr. With the extender, if you were to have the flat base plate on there, it is significantly shorter. But with the extender, they're very similar. Let's talk about length of the slide, and we'll line these guys up end to end. And there, you actually can see the Glock is just a tad bit longer. Part of that's because the barrel sticks out. So, as far as size goes, the Kahr is really similar to the Glock 26. And when you look at it, it looks bigger. I think it looks bigger because of the colors. Maybe it's because it's thinner in certain areas. It is longer here in the handle. So which one do you guys want to go with? If you're concerned about the weight, I highly recommend going with the Kahr. Not real concerned about the weight and you want that extra capacity, that double stack capacity, and the ability to throw in Glock 19 mags, Glock 17 mags, I would go with the Glock 26. They have both been reliable so far, and we will be doing a future review on the Kahr after we get it broken in to fully determine if it is a viable carry weapon. But other than that, guys, that's the size and feature comparison of the Kahr CW9, the Glock 26 Gen 4. You got any questions? It's Chad from CNR Reviews. Have a good day.